Hey y'all! This is my Sigarda deck tech featuring my I did the altar on all the magic cards that I'm going to be showing. They're really only for my actual commanders. Yeah. So let's get on with the inspiration behind this deck. So like I mentioned in the last one about Bear Force 1, I have a lot of inspiration from Graham's janky decks on Loading Ready Run. It's just a fun style to do. So I tried to base this one around his Sigarda deck, but I didn't really look into the deck tech, so I was just inspired by it. By all means, this is not his deck at all. Okay, so the first ones I would like to talk about are a couple that I was really excited to get in this deck. From watching Loading Ready Run Commander streams on YouTube/Twitch, one of my favorite ones that was mentioned was Duelist Heritage. Now, Duelist Heritage says whenever one or more creatures attack, you may have target attacking creature gain double strike until end of turn. So the fun thing with this card is that you can choose any creature, not just your own. You can just spite someone out of nowhere just because you feel like it. I think that's a really fun thing to be able to do in a deck. just to spite someone, yeah. So I also made this a slight Enchantress theme. It originally was an Enchantress deck with Karametra as the commander, and Sigarda was in the 99. But I switched that out because I got tired of doing Karametra stacks. I just don't like that. I don't like how that plays. I don't like how people interact with it. No one likes it. So I just put a little less hate enchantments in here. Like the only hate enchantments I can really think of in here are things like Stony Silence, activated values of artifacts cannot be activated, and Karmic Justice. Karmic Justice says whenever a spell or ability an opponent controls destroys a non-creature permanent you control, you may destroy target permanent that opponent controls. So if someone blows up a non-creature permanent of yours, say Stony Silence, then you can choose to blow up something on their board. It's Karmic Justice. And then the other enchantments that I like to base more around the white theme of enchantments. Of course, I have a couple green ones that have like mana ramp for those like 1 to 2 drops for what's the word? It's abundant growth and fertile ground, things like that just have one of your manas produce an extra mana or 2. I was thinking about putting there was something market, I can't remember. There was one like that you can tap to add an extra 2, I think. But that's not in this one. So I have a little more creature base in this deck, so enchantments I like to add into this one include Brave the Sands. This one is one of my favorites because it gives all creatures I control vigilance and can block an additional creature. So that just gives a lot more. It gives a lot more to your creatures. That was a weird way of saying it, but okay. Another really good one was Sigil of the Empty Throne. It's in a lot of decks, really, that are enchantment heavy. Yeah. It's always a good include. And I have Personal Sanctuary just so people don't... That was a weird noise. Okay. That's fine. So people don't attack me on my turn, or deal any damage on my turn. I got Sigarda's Aid. Of course it's flavor text. But It says you may cast aura and equipment spells as though they had flash. And whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach it to target creature you control. So I have a few artifact equipments, not a whole bunch, but they work out pretty well. Where are they? One of my favorite ones is General's Kabuto. It gives equipped creature cannot be the target of spells or abilities, just like Sigarda, she is hexproof. So it makes another creature just like Sigarda. And to top it off, one of the best enchantments that I can think of is Starfield of Nyx. So if you're just like, you're enchantment heavy and you're not drawing it into any of your creatures, Starfield of Nyx says, at the beginning of your upkeep you may return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's a plus if your enchantments get blown up. And then the other part is what I was talking about earlier, is as long as you control 5 or more enchantments, each other non-aura enchantment you control is a creature in addition to its other types, and has a base power and toughness, each equal to its converted mana cost. So this one, Sigil would be a 5/5. Personal Sanctuary would be a 3/3. Sigarda's Aid would be a 1/1, and so on. So you just have a bunch of enchantments and you're like, bam. All my enchantments are creatures, swing at you for lethal. Yeah. I think those are really fun. I personally, I just tweaked this deck today, so I'm not sure how all of this will run. I'll test it out and let you guys know later on. But some of my favorite creatures in this deck. Of course, you have to have some kind of enchantresses if you're gonna call your deck an enchantress sub-theme or something like that. I don't have a lot of them, but I have Yavimaya Enchantress and Argothian Enchantress. The art is just so beautiful on both of these. And then one that ties into that, of course, I gotta have Karametra. So that was one of the first altars I did, and it was when she was the commander of my deck. So that's why she's painted. And then Dauntless Escort is a great one to keep all your creatures around in case everything gets blown up and whatnot. And Seaborn Muse, just in a green deck, it's really great to be able to untap everything. In a green-white deck, it seems a lot better, because with a lot of white green cards, they have instant or sorceries that say target creature gets +3/+3 or +1/+1 till end of turn, untap it, it gains reach, something like that. So it's a really good way to keep your creatures and try to take out everyone else's. Yeah. Let's see, what's in this pile? Oh, these are some key cards that I like to include in a green-white deck. One of them is Illadarmari's Call. That's always hard for me to say. It says search your library for a creature card, reveal it, and put it in your hand and shuffle your library. It's just a basic tutor. Another one is Heroic Intervention. Everyone knows that card by now. And then, of course, an enchantment theme deck. It's always great to have Crystal Chimes, just so you can return everything to your hand. Can you not, cat? And then the last one is Triumphant Reckoning. So even though that is a 9 mana 9 mana cost sorcery, it returns basically everything that I have in this deck besides creatures to the battlefield. Since this is a enchantment heavy deck, it works really well. I think I have 1 or 2 planeswalkers in this deck. One of them is Calyx, which pretty much does the same for enchantments. His alt is return all enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it kind of does the same thing in a way. Oh, funny story about that one. When when I was playing with my Karametra deck, it was more stacks heavy, and this was when this deck really got to shine. I felt like a dick, but I was locking people out of the game with the stacks-based enchantments. And then I ulted Calyx. No one even saw that he was at his ult number. And then it's just like, bam, everything. The board was flooded with all the enchantments, and I had Sigil hit first, so then all the enchantments, they brought angels. Oh wait, no, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, it didn't work that way. I don't know why I said that. Yeah, I cast it. But it brought back all the enchantments, and everyone else was like, yep, I'm done. Scoop. It wasn't the best victory, but I never got to ult Calyx after that. Let's see what's next. More cards I like to include in this. These are more creature cards. I have the other Sigarda, Sigarda Heron's Grace. Me and humans I control have hexproof, and tap 2, exile a card from your graveyard and put a 1/1 white human soldier creature token in the battlefield. Yeah. Gotta have the Sigarda twinsies. Another one I have is Sun Titan. Whenever Sun Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, you can return target permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Now this is really good with just chaining together with either Dauntless Escort or what else was there? Or even one of the Enchantresses, because they're what, 3 cost or less? Yeah. It's really good to tie together with those, or some low-cost enchantments even. I think it works pretty well. Yeah. Another really good one is Shalai, Voice of Plenty. Now this one gives you hexproof as well. So another good thing about this deck is it's very hexproof centric. It's just like, don't touch me. Don't touch me at all. Another one, Nylea, God of the Hunt. So if a more creature flooded in this deck, then Nylea would be really good because it gives all the creatures trample and you can pump them over and over depending on how much mana you have. Another really good one is Dawnglade Regent. Now it's a 7 mana 8/8, but you become the monarch when it enters the battlefield, and as long as you're the monarch, permanents you control have hexproof. So even more hexproof. Hexproof heavy, baby! Let's see. Oh, there's the other Planeswalker I have. It's Ajani the Great-Hearted, just to give more +1/+1 counters and gain life, I guess. Just a little something. A lot of the other cards are just miscellaneous draw spells, pump effects. Of course, there's Wrath of God and Fumigate. There's a Plea for Guidance that is just like another tutor, essentially. Let's see. I'm hoping this deck will turn out the way that I want it to. So I've been trying to figure out how to do this deck for a long time. Trial and error. So much trial and error. Standard enchantment deck. Gotta have Prophet of Kruphix just for some top card shenanigans. Acidic Slime, you can blow up stuff. Enchantment spells cost 1 less with Starfield Mystic. Destiny Spinner. Everything can't be countered, essentially. Qasali, Pride Mage. Blow up stuff. Blow up artifacts or enchantments. Yeah. Ajani's Chosen. Whenever enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, put a 2/2 white cat creature token on the battlefield. If the enchantment is an aura, you may attach it to that token. I think that's really neat. And then, of course, the ram. Well, sheep, but ram. Enchantment and a creature, so it would trigger Karametra and it would trigger enchantresses. A staple that I like to include in white base decks, well not base, but white decks, is Bounty Agent. Just, it's another thing to be able to destroy stuff, essentially. Yeah, and then other cards are just pump effects. Pump effects and destruction. Those are the essentially the basics of this deck and how I would like it to perform. I would like it to perform as to have more hexproof in the deck and be able to swing out and just reap the benefits of having all these enchantments and drawing cards and all that stuff. There's not a straightforward win con in this deck like the Bear Force one that I was talking about last time. I'm still trying to figure this one out, so if anyone has any suggestions on how to improve this deck, please let me know in the comments below. And I would also love to hear back from anyone about suggestions about the next deck tech that I should do, or one that someone would be wanting to watch. I have a lot of commander decks, and I mean, if you can just suggest like a color combination, I probably have it somewhere. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks.